What a weekend we had today in the NFL. I got a lot to cover here in the next half hour. The Houston Astros are World Series champions for the second time in 5 years. Joey Logano captured his second NASCAR Cup championship today here in Phoenix, Arizona. And what a weekend we had in college football. I've got all of that tonight, and we will start the show right after this.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the chill of victory, and the agony of defeat. The human drama of athletic competition. This is ABC's Wide World of Sport.
Let's go right into the show. We have a lot to cover. Here tonight. Sorry about that there. Let's go ahead and get right on with the show. In the game that you just saw on NBC Sunday Night Football, the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Tennessee Titans 20-17 in overtime. Patrick Mahomes boy did it again. 43 of 68, 446 yards. He also had 6 carries for 63 yards and he had a touchdown. And he also had a touchdown and interception throwing tonight. Travis Kelce, 10 catches, 106 yards. A big night for him. Mecole Hardman from Michigan, 6 catches, 79 yards, and a touchdown. And Carlos Dunlap, give him some love tonight. 1.5 sacks, 1 tackle for loss in the ball game. For Tennessee, Malik Willis, 5 of 16 for 80 yards, and that was it for him. Derrick Henry was the hero of the night on the offense. 17 carries, 115 yards, and he had 2 touchdowns on the ground. Danico Autry, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss tonight. Mario Edwards Jr., 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss tonight. It is no wonder that the Titans lost in overtime tonight. 9 first downs, 229 yards total offense, 1 for 11 on third down. Unbelievable. That's basically what happened tonight. The game went to overtime, and the Titans could not get the job done. They had the lead at the half, and they blew it. So now the Titans are now 5-3, and we have a bunch of teams with 3 losses in the NFL right now. I'm going to tell you something. This was a game that was crazy from the word go, and everybody knew it. The truth of the fact is this. Great game tonight. The Kansas City Chiefs get it done. And there was some chirping and there was some pushing and shoving tonight. It was starting to get a little chippy, and it started right out of the gate with the very first play of the game. But what's done is done. The Chiefs come out on top. 20-17 in overtime. And congrats to the Chiefs for getting it done. Earlier today, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers came back to beat the LA Rams 16-13, and it took 59 minutes, 51 seconds for Tom Brady to get his only touchdown pass of the game. He was 36 of 58, 280 yards, and a touchdown. Cade Otton, the hero of the game, the man who caught it, 5 catches, 68 yards, and a touchdown. And Vita Vea, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. Give that guy some love. But on the other side for the Los Angeles Rams, Matthew Stafford, 13-27, 165 yards and a touchdown. Not enough. Cooper Kupp, 8 catches, 127 yards and a touchdown of his own. And Aaron Donald had 1 sack and 1 tackle for loss. A couple of problems here. The Rams, 9 first downs, 206 yards total offense today in the game. And the Rams have been outscored 71-10 in the fourth quarter this season. No wonder they have a 3-5 record. These are the reigning NFC champions, and they're not playing like it. And that's the thing. The Rams were heavily favored to go back to the Super Bowl. The Rams were one of the favorites. They're not acting like it right now. I can't believe it. The Rams, last year's NFC champions, struggling. It happens. I understand. But a lot of people out in LA are a little disappointed and a little surprised. However, at the end of the day, it was a big win for the Buccaneers to come from behind. Tom Brady got his only touchdown pass of the game with 9 seconds left, and it couldn't have come at a better time. And that's all I'm going to have to say about that one because I'm still scratching my head over it. Hey, what about the New York Jets stunning the Buffalo Bills today in New York, out in the Meadowlands today? That did happen today. The Jets beat the Bills 20-17 on a Greg Zerling field goal with 6 minutes left in the game. It was a go-ahead field goal. The Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, only 42 yards passing in the second half. It was depressing. But for the Jets, Zach Wilson, 15-25, 154 yards and a touchdown. Michael Carter, 12 carries, 76 yards and a touchdown. Quinnen Williams, give him some love. 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss today. Jermaine Johnson, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss for him on this day. But as for the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, 18-34, 205 yards. He was picked off twice. But he also had 9 carries for 86 yards, and he had 2 touchdowns of his own. He ran for 2 scores. Damar Hamlin, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss today. And Von Miller from the Denver Broncos at 1 point, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss for him. This was an up and down game. This was a game that could have gone either way. It's New York. It's the New York area, for crying out loud. But the Jets got a big, big win. So the question is, are the Buffalo Bills a sure bet in the AFC East? Some people say yes. It depends on who you ask. But a big win today for the New York Jets, and they're off to their best start since 2010. Could they get back into the playoffs? We will have to wait and see on that. But I'll say this. A great win today for the New York Jets. And it was a win they needed on this day. Well, it's very rare I talk about the Green Bay Packers having a bad season. It's so bad for them that the Detroit Lions beat the Green Bay Packers today 15-9. I'm not making this up. Jared Goff, 14-26, 137 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was intercepted once. Jamel Williams, 24 carries, 81 yards, and a touchdown. And Derek Barnes, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. And that was the only sack of the ball game. For the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers, 23-43, 291 yards, a touchdown. He was picked off 3 times. Alan Lazard, 4 catches, 87 yards, and a touchdown. The Packers were banged up. Romeo Doubs, ankle injury. He went out of the game. Christian Watson, concussion. He's out. Aaron Jones, ankle, out. Rashawn Gary, one of the best defensive ends. He's out with a knee injury. Eric Stokes, knee and ankle center back. He's out. He got hurt today. And Chris Barnes, a concussion, one of the best linebackers. All of this happened in today's game. The Packers are struggling. They're only 3-6 on the season. And if somebody would have told me that the Green Bay Packers would be struggling, I would have said, there's no way. But they are. 3 turnovers today by Aaron Rodgers. To a lot of people, that's inexcusable. He hasn't had a 3 turnover game since his rookie season. Many people had the Packers going back to the playoffs and possibly making a Super Bowl run. Well, they can kiss that goodbye now. And that's all I can say about that. Well, I'll say this, though. The struggles for the Packers are not going to get any better anytime soon. I mean, you got all these guys that got hurt today. Today. I'm not kidding. But I will say this, though. If anybody would have told me that the Minnesota Vikings would be in first place and have the second best record in the NFC North, in the NFC, I would have not have said no way. But they do. They beat the Washington Commanders 20-17 today. Kirk Cousins, 22 of 40, 265 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Justin Jefferson, 7 catches, 115 yards and a touchdown. Daniel Hunter, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. Give that guy some love. And DJ Warnham, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss today. For the Washington Commanders, Taylor Heinicke, 15 of 28, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Curtis Samuel from Ohio State, 3 catches, 65 yards and a touchdown. Darren Payne, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. Benjamin St. Justy, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss in the game. The Commanders had 18 first downs, 263 yards total offense. They were only 3 of 10 on third down today. That's what went wrong for them today. The Minnesota Vikings have won 6 in a row. They have the second best record in the NFC at 7-1, just behind the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm looking for the showdown between these two teams if they play each other. You know it's coming. But if somebody would have told me that it would be the Minnesota Vikings in first place in the NFC North, I would have said, no way. Not happening. Forget it. Bottom line, it's not happening. And that's all I can say about that. But I can't. The Vikings are the only team above 500 in the NFC North right now. They're in first place, and they're just running away with the division. But what about the Philadelphia Eagles? The Eagles are undefeated right now, and I don't see them losing anywhere anytime soon. But I'll tell you this. Anything can happen on a given Sunday. And it was proven today in the world of the NFL. Okay. Normally, I would close the show with NASCAR, but I have to go mid-show with this today. Joey Logano is the NASCAR Cup champion for 2022. Number 22 did it in 22. It's that simple. Logano won the race today in Phoenix. His teammate Ryan Blaney came home second. Ross Chastain about a second short. He was 1.2 seconds short of possibly taking the crown away from Joey Logano. He finished third today. Chase Briscoe with a nice run coming home fourth. Kevin Harvick, good way to close out the season, finishing fifth. William Byron was sixth. Kyle Busch in his final ride with the Joe Gibbs Racing Team finished seventh. Denny Hamlin finished eighth. Kyle Larson ninth. And Christopher Bell, who won his way into the chase last Sunday at Martinsville, came home 10th. He will finish third in the final standings. Chase Elliott had a bad day when he caught the wall thanks to Ross Chastain early in the going. This is the first time ever that car owner Roger Penske has won the IndyCar title and the NASCAR Cup title in the same year. All of the stuff that Mr. Penske has done, and I call him Mr. Penske out of respect. The things that Roger Penske has accomplished already is phenomenal. Austin Cindric winning the Daytona 500. Ryan Blaney getting himself into the chase without winning a race. And he did not win one race this season. He came home second behind his teammate Joey Logano. And I think that second place finish was to run interference for him. But it is what it is. And my congratulations to Joey Logano for winning the NASCAR Cup Championship. Joey Logano, you and your family celebrate and enjoy. The 2022 season is over. The racing season is over, but it will pick up again February 19, 2023 with the Daytona 500, and I'm calling the countdown. The countdown to the 500 has already started in the eyes of many on this night. All right, let's move on. Well, everybody, I hate to say it, The Houston Astros are World Series champions for the second time in 5 seasons. Yes, Dusty Baker got his World Series ring as a manager. He did it. My congratulations to him. Jeremy Pena has won World Series MVP, and my congrats to him. He hit over 400 in the Fall Classic. But back to Dusty Baker for a second. It took him 2,093 victories to finally get that world, to finally get to the prom, to finally get to the top of the peak. And he earned it. But I want to give some respect to Christian Vasquez. All the way back in Game 4, think about it. When the Astros pitched that combined no-hitter, 6 innings pitched, no hits, no earned runs. He only walked 2 and struck out 9. But I do want to give some love to Justin Verlander. I'm not going to worry about Verlander. I don't have him on there. But in Game 6, Farmer Valdez, 6 innings pitched, only gave up one earned run, struck out 9, walked 2. But I'm going to say this, though. The Astros have captured their World Series crown. They've done it. And my congratulations to them. They earned it. But I want to talk about the Philadelphia Phillies for a second. The Phillies have absolutely nothing to hang their heads about. Think about the Phillies season. When the Phillies were 21-29, 8 games under 500, they fired their manager, Joe Girardi, and bring in Rob Thompson. He turned that ball club around. As interim manager, Thompson took the Phillies. The Phillies got into the postseason on the final wild card, on the final day of the season. They got in. And think about it in the wild card round. The Phillies had to beat the Cardinals 2 straight. The Cardinals had two future Hall of Famers, first ballot I may add. The Cardinals were loaded, but the Phillies went into Busch Stadium, beat them 2 straight. Then the division series, where the Phillies had to face last year's World Series champion Atlanta Braves. They beat them in 4 games. They get to the NLCS, beat the Padres in 5. But just to come up a little short in the World Series, I'll tell you this. To the Phillies, you guys have nothing to hang your heads about. Think about it. All season long in the National League East, they were all talking about the Mets and the Braves. 2 early round exits. And the third place team in the NL East got to the Fall Classic. That is not bad at all. The Phillies will be back. They got Bryce Harper, Rhys Hoskins. If they can keep those guys together, we could be talking about the Phillies having a better record and possibly going back and having another shot at it. And I'm going to say this to the Phillies organization. You need to consider Rob Thompson as manager of the Phillies. You need to offer him a contract or offer him the job. Because look what he did. He took the struggling Phillies, got him into the postseason, despite everything that was going on. My hat's off to the Phillies. And everybody, even some of the people in Houston said, the Phillies have nothing to hang their heads about. Because think about it. The Phillies took the opener. The Astros took game 2. Then the Phillies went up 2-1. And I think after the no-hitter, that's when the wheels fell off. Mm-hmm. But my hat's off to the Astros for winning the World Series. But for the Phillies, you guys have nothing to hang your heads about. And I mean it. All right, let's talk about my bread and butter, college football. What a Saturday we had. Number 10 LSU upset number 6 Alabama 32-31 on a 2-point conversion in overtime. Jaden Daniels, 22 of 32, 182 yards, 2 touchdowns. He took matters into his own hands on the ground. 18 carries, 95 yards, and he ran for a score of his own. Josh Williams, 7 carries, 54 yards, and a touchdown. Mason Taylor, 3 catches, 36 yards, and a touchdown. John Emery Jr., 2 catches, 34 yards, and a touchdown. B.J. Ochakrai, 1 sack, 1.5 tackles for loss. Harold Perkins Jr., what a way for him to step up. 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss in the game. For Alabama, Bryce Young, 25 of 51, 328 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. John Radel. 7 carries, 11 yards, and he had 2 touchdowns on the ground. Ja'Cory Brooks, 7 catches, 97 yards, and he ran for a score. Henry, 2 of 2. 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss in the game. Dallas Turner, 1.5 sacks, 1.5 tackles for loss in this game. Let's face it, everybody. LSU did the rest of the country a favor by knocking Alabama right out of the – Alabama now is right out of the national title race. And you can thank LSU. If LSU wins out, they'll be playing in the SEC championship game. Because when you have 2 losses, nobody in the committee is going to put a 2-loss team in. And Alabama's road to the national title has just come to a grinding halt. People are going to say, put them in. No. 2 losses, there's a lot of great teams in front of Alabama. Alabama's going to be lucky to be top 10 after the performance. In the AP Top 25 poll, Alabama comes in at number 10. Nick Saban, I'm sure, is taking a course from Bobby Knight on Cussatology 101. Drop every F-bomb in the locker room. That's what Bob Knight's famous for. That's what some of these coaches like to do. LSU won that game on a 2-point conversion. They got the conversion, and the whole nation was happy, except everybody in Tuscaloosa in the state of Alabama. What we saw on Saturday night in Baton Rouge was one of the most beautiful things I have seen in 27 years. That's the truth. There we go. And speaking of that game between Tennessee and Georgia, number 3 Georgia had no problem with number 1 Tennessee 27-13 on Saturday. Stetson Bennett, 17 of 25, 257 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did carry the ball once for 13 yards, but he took it in for a touchdown. Clyde McConkey, 5 catches, 94 yards, and a touchdown. Javon Bullard, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. Give that guy some love. And Jalen Carter, 1 sack and 2 tackles for loss in the ball game. For Tennessee, Hendon Hooker, 23 of 33, 195 yards and an interception. Jalen Wright, 21 carries, 69 yards and a touchdown. Cedric Tillman, 7 catches for 65 yards. The wheels fell off for Tennessee. 21 first downs, 289 yards total offense, 2 for 14 on 3rd down. That's where Tennessee went wrong. Hendon Hooker's Heisman hopes? I'm not so sure now. I'm not so sure because he did not look good to me at all on Saturday. Tennessee got exposed, and they got beat up because of it. And that's the truth of the matter. And Georgia, they're going to Atlanta. Win out, their next stop, Atlanta. Their next stop is going to be Atlanta for the SEC championship game. Who are they going to face? It could be LSU or Ole Miss because Alabama is out. They're out of the national title race. They'll be lucky to win the SEC West. If they lose one more game, they're done. There's people that are saying Alabama's dynasty and Alabama's glory days are over. And I have to kind of agree with that. They did not look good to me at all, especially against Tennessee. They struggled against Texas A&M. I didn't forget about the A&M game. And this loss to LSU just took them right out of a national title race. And that's the bottom line. But one last game. We're leaving the SEC and we're going to go ACC and independent. Notre Dame just trounced number 4 Clemson 35-14 on Saturday night. Drew Pine, 9 of 17 for 85 yards and a touchdown. The wind was blowing like crazy in the South Bend area. Logan Daigo, 17 carries, 114 yards. Not a bad night for him. Audric Esteen, 18 carries, 104 yards and a touchdown. J.D. Bertrand, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss in the ball game. For Clemson, DJ Uiagalelei, 27 of 39, 191 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Will Shipley, 12 carries, 63 yards and a touchdown. Joseph Nagata, 4 catches, 22 yards, and he had a touchdown of his own. Miles Murphy, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, but it didn't matter because Prince Colley had a set and blocked a punt and took it 17 yards for a touchdown. And Benjamin Morrison, he intercepted a Uiagalelei pass and took it 96 yards back the other way for a pick 6. That's how bad Clemson's night was. 21 first downs, 281 total yards of offense, 2 turnovers. Notre Dame didn't even have a single turnover in the ball game. And Notre Dame outrushed Clemson 263 to 90. That was it. Clemson only had 90 yards rushing as a team for the game. That's how bad it was. A huge win for the Fighting Irish. They upset Clemson. So what's going to happen now? It may be Clemson and North Carolina for the ACC crown. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. But it was a big win, and it was a much deserved win for my guys. And that's the bottom line. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for my closing thoughts on this night. What will happen on Tuesday when the committee releases the new top 4 in the college football playoff race? There's going to be some huge changes. Alabama, they're going to slide down like there's no tomorrow. Tennessee, we don't know if they're going to be top 4 or not. Ohio State had some struggles against Northwestern. I'm not going to deny that for 1 second. We struggled against the Wildcats on Saturday. Georgia's going to be number 1. There's no doubt in my mind. It's just 2, 3, 4 all the rest of the way down. That's going to be the big. That's your $64,000 question right there. In all honesty, some big wins. The weekend is over. Now we start a new week. The college football playoff poll is going to be released on Tuesday, and we'll wait and see what happens there. Okay, folks, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. I want to thank you guys so much for being with me here on this night. Please go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. My name is Scott Manning. All you have to do is type my name, scroll down, look for this pretty face, click subscribe, and mute. You'll see all the sports shows I have done so far. I want to thank you guys so much for being with me here on this night. You guys have a great night. Thank you so much for being with me on this late night in the wee hours on Monday morning in the eastern part of the country. And God bless. Good night, everybody, and I thank you.